What is up, YouTube? AVI back in another video, and we are actually in North Carolina right now, and we took a road trip using this Mini Cooper, a 2020 Mini Cooper Countryman, and figured while we're here we might as well do a full review. We're going to do exterior tour, interior tour, and then driving impressions, and then finally final thoughts on what I thought. So let's quickly head on to the exterior, but before we do that, if you guys can please subscribe, smash the like button, and support us. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so please subscribe, and we'll get to it. Let's do it. We'll start with the monstrous engine that the Mini Cooper has. It has a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder turbo engine, so that is kind of cool that it has a turbo. Obviously it's very dusty, not our car, rental car, but it's good for about 130 horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 7 minutes, but that's okay. It is pretty good for city driving, highway driving. It is a little bit hard to get you up to speed, but we will show you guys the driving impressions when we get there. So now we will continue with the exterior tour. As you can see, the hood is pretty cool actually now that we're noticing. So the lights, this whole thing is the hood itself. Normally this is a part of the bumper, but it's actually a part of the hood itself, which is pretty cool. So it is a pretty large and interesting looking hood. We'll go ahead and close that. It's much easier to close than a normal, typical American car, at least. We'll continue on the side here. We have 18-inch wheels that say Mini. Nothing really special going on about them. We have a fake side vent here that also says Mini. So they love using the word Mini. This is obviously your turn signal integrated into the vent. All four, so this model does come with 4-wheel drive. I believe all Countrymans do, correct me if I'm wrong, come with 4-wheel drive. This kind of boxy look kind of looks nice for the Mini Cooper. Does have a lot more space than I would expect from a Mini Cooper, but I know against other competitors in this segment it's definitely on the smaller side. We're continuing on to the back. The gas tap is manual. In this, one thing while we're at the gas, it does only take premium, which is one thing I have to mark it for. So on the road trip it wasn't ideal, but of course we're going to pick a Mini Cooper over like a Toyota Corolla or something. The back we have that Mini badge, which is also on the front, and you see Countryman written in big letters that goes across. And this is the Cooper, not the Cooper S. I believe the Cooper S comes with a 2.0, a 2 liter engine rather than the 1.5. It is still turboed. We have the single exhaust in the back, and we do have rear parking sensors, which are super helpful, as well as a backup camera. And this is not the John Cooper, which I believe has the British flag. And it, once again, we see that famous Mini word integrated into the rear lights. But that's pretty much it for the exterior. Now we'll head and do some interior reactions. All right, now we're in the driver's seat in the Mini Cooper. And the first thing you'll notice is a ton of circles. And what I mean by that is the door handle is a circle, even though it's not really. It's just integrated into a circle. Obviously your window controls are circular, that's pretty normal. The dial on which the AC vents, circular, your lights, circular, steering wheel, circular, but circle supporting the steering wheel, Mini Cooper logo, circle, all of these buttons, circle, center gauge, circle, and then you come to the center control stack, it's a circle. Come down here to your air vents, circles. But let's turn it on and see. So actually it's a pretty cool stop mechanism. You put your foot on the brake and press this button up to start it. And it's saying remote control, not here, but it's here. So now we'll do that again. And this is all electronic. So it shows your temperature. So if you increase it like this, it'll move up. Also, when you're increasing the temperature or decreasing the temperature, watch this light bar around this. So right now we're on the coldest setting, but if we increase it, you can see this white section is going up. Whether or not the hotter you are, you'll be in the red, and the colder you are, that white bar will move into blue. So that's really cool, and actually it works for not just temperature, but also fan speed. So as you can see, fan speed is off, but when we increase it, that white light will go all the way to max. So that's a really cool feature that I haven't seen and is very unique to Mini Cooper. Continuing on, this is a very small screen for the driver, but actually I didn't find it too small while using it. But the only thing is you have your RPMs and your speed, but you don't have like engine temperature or anything like that, which I thought was strange. And to see your mileage, you actually have to hit this trip button in order to see your mileage right there, 49,000. Another interesting thing is your gas meter is on a scale of 1 to 0, which I thought was strange. I would think it's, you know, F for full and E for empty rather than a 1 and a 0. But I guess Mini Coopers like to be unique. So those are some interesting things about the interior. One thing that I did notice in terms of reliability is these interior lights do not work. Obviously it's a rental and probably beat on a little bit, but these do not work, and it only has about 40,000 miles. So that's something to look out for if you're buying these used. One other interesting thing is you have a side sun visor here for the driver only. The passenger just has a handle, but on the driver's side you do have a side as well as a front. So rather than, I don't know why they would do both, rather than just making the slide, they decided it would be easier to just add a whole separate visor. Not sure why, but that's, I guess, an interesting fact that I have actually never seen in a car. Another cool feature is dual sunroofs. Very cool. It's very nice on a road trip just to be able to open this up. It also has a sunscreen, so it's very cool. Another interesting feature. So that's pretty much it for the interior. Like I said, it does have sensors for the rear. I don't believe sensors for the front, correct me if I'm wrong. But now we'll go ahead and show you the tailgate. Continuing on, now we're at the back, and one thing I didn't mention is the key. Continuing on with that circle theme, the key is circular. One side will say, you guessed it, the word mini, and this is unlock. This button, the mini button, is actually the lock button, which I thought was kind of strange. First time I took it, I was like, how do I lock the car? And then finally, the third button is the tailgate, and as you'll see, you press it, it's automatic. So pretty cool. Coming on to the hatchback tailgate. Things to note, probably against competitors, it's much smaller than what you're expecting. You can push down the back seats, and then you do get some extra storage space down here, which is nice to have. But for size comparison, we do have two duffel bags to show the size. As you can see, one typical duffel bag almost takes up the whole side. We can stack these and make room. So I really don't think it's too much of a big deal. One thing to note is it's probably too small for a pair of golf clubs, if I were to guess. So you'd have to lay down this seat in order to put it in. But I don't think that's too much of an issue. Just getting that four-wheel drive is probably worth the size if you're really looking for a Mini Cooper. And once again, it is powered, so you have two buttons here. If you press this one, it'll close and then it'll lock. If you press this button, it'll just close and it won't lock. So for instance, we'll press this and it'll close. It's pretty simple. We've been having absolutely no issues with the tailgate itself in terms of our week review of week of driving it. But now we'll get a sound clip to start it up and we'll go for a drive. Let's do it. Alright guys, here we are driving the 2020 Mini Cooper Countryman. First thing to note, one thing I hate about the car right off the bat is automatic stop start. So when you're at a light, the car will turn off, and then when you take your foot off the brake, it'll start up so you can go. I've been in some cars where it's okay. This particular car, I'm not sure if it's just because it has 50,000 miles and it's a rental, but when the car starts again, it like jolts, and you can definitely feel it as a passenger or as a driver. I don't love that feature. You can turn it off using this button right here in the center console, but from what I've seen, every time you start the car again, after you get out and get back in, you're gonna have to turn it off, which is not my favorite feature. But other things to note, just cruising along at 47, you have, as a driver, you have tons of leg room. Like I can put my leg over here, and if I'm cruise control on the highway, I can kind of put my leg, and there's nothing blocking my leg room here, which is pretty nice actually. It is really good for road trips. Like I said, we've been on the road a lot with it, so it is pretty good. Visibility is great, actually, better than I was expecting. View out the front is great. There's no hood bulge to see over. View out the sides is great. Big mirrors. There's a little bit of a blind spot, but not too bad. The only thing of complaint is view out the back. Is a little bit restricted just from the three headrests. I'm sure I could take them off and it would be great, but right now it is a little bit restricted. All right, let's take this turn here to see. Go over some bumps. Not the best ride quality. Better than some other like sports cars, obviously better than the SRT8 Jeep that I daily drive, but not as good as some of these Acura and Audis that are 2020s. Not up to par with those, but definitely better than some other sporty sedans. Going over those bumps, you do feel it a little bit. Not too bad. Gas mileage, we're averaging about 30 miles a gallon, which is pretty good. Nothing to complain about. Probably not up to the some par. Like competitor would be maybe Toyota RAV4 is a little bit bigger car, but that's probably getting a little bit of the same. And in about 0.2 miles, we're going to be lower on the highway, so we'll do a little pull, if you can call it that, in the Mini Cooper. Alright, here we're getting onto an on-ramp. I'm going to floor it and see how it does. You can't hear the turbo, which is pretty cool. But definitely not going to put you back in your seat. It's decently okay to get you up to traffic speed. But nothing that's impressive, I would definitely say. It's only, like I said, 137 horsepower or something like that. So nothing crazy. So we're just sitting at 60 here. And no paddles, obviously. But now I will floor it. There's that kick down, waiting for it. I'm waiting for the power. Now it's starting to kick in a little bit. But nothing that fun. So if you're looking for a fast car, this is not it. If you're looking for a quick car, this could do the job. But nothing that's exciting to drive. It is a little bit nimble, because it is a little bit more compact car, so that is a plus. One thing to note is the cruise control has been great. We've been using it a lot on the road trip. So what you do, it is adaptive cruise control. So let's say, for instance, the speed limit here is 60. I'm going 58, 59, 60. I can press cruise control, that button. Now I'm going 61. Let's say I want to reduce it just by 1, I can press that. But the cool thing that I learned is you do have an ability to go up 5 miles an hour or down 5 miles an hour using this button. Instead of just pressing it lightly, you can hard press it. If I want to go now 65, I can hard press it, and now the speed limit goes up to 60, or the cruise control goes up to 65. Now let's say I wanted to slow down a little bit, 64. Now if I hard press this button, it'll drop me to 60 miles an hour rather than 65. So I'll hit that. Now I'm going to 60, and it'll drop me down. And adaptive, this car just pulled in front of me. Let's see, it's pulling away from me, so it's not going to reduce the speed. But if it were to brake in front of me, the car would recognize that it's braking. It's braking, it would slow you down accordingly. I have had to use the cancel button more than I'd like to, having it being adapted. It's not self-driving, obviously, but it is pretty good for everyday scenario. Just make sure your foot is still on the brake, just in case you need something. But overall, I actually do enjoy driving it. But now we're going to go back and hear our final thoughts. See you there. Alright, so now that you've seen the interior, the exterior, and you've heard the driving impressions, what are my final thoughts on the Mini Cooper Countryman? Honestly, I don't mind driving it a lot. Like I said, we took a road trip for almost 1,000 miles at this point, and it's been great. It's very comfortable interior. The ride quality is not 100% great, but you pretty much know what you're getting buying a Mini Cooper. And a lot of people like the Mini Cooper, so if you're looking for that, I think you could definitely buy it. And it's decently priced compared to the competitors. So I say it's a buy if you're looking for something unique and at least fun to drive. With that, please subscribe, hit the like button, and just like that, AVI out.
Also, guys, the Mini Cooper is extremely cute.